So much the Ghana Presence Band for your customs. If you're ready, they're also ready for you. As the custom band sets up, I would want to do this acknowledgement before they take over. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very privileged to have in our midst this afternoon a very great personality. A wonderful woman, of course. And she is the MP for Kpodo South, the Honorable Abla Jiva Gomashi. Shall we please welcome her with a wonderful round of applause. Madam, thank you for coming. We have also in our midst some reps from the Ghana Dance Ensemble. We have Madam Caroline Yeme. We have Mr. Alidu Al-Hassan, Peace Simon, and Meregaya. Please let's acknowledge them. They are reps from the Ghana Dance Ensemble. We also have in our midst Mr. Thomas Senya. We have in our midst also Mr. Peter K. Lumo. Shall we please see you wave at us? We have from the Ghana Military Academy, WO1, Victor Sydney, a product of Prof. If the custom band is ready, this afternoon they give us 2 songs. And they have the first one titled Perfecto. It's a march arranged by the Director of Music himself, Principal Revenue Officer, Mr. John Afomorpe. And the second one is Ajo, an ever fantasia. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy. Thank you. So that ends this segment. That's the third segment that was taken over by the security bands under the Interior Ministry. At this point, I would also want to acknowledge the Ghana Police TV. They are here also taking coverage. Please let's do it for them. So I would now hand over to my co-MC to take up from this point.
Thank you so very much, and of course, thank you to all the security bands who've been playing so far. At this point, we would love to hear from a young gentleman who's going to give us a keynote. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. Professor Paschal Young is the 2020 Ohio Heritage Fellowship Awardee and Carnegie African Diaspora Fellow from 2019. And I can assure you that sights and sounds of Africa fill the air when Professor Young, multi-talented, interdisciplinary musician, scholar, composer, author, performer, presents God internationally. As a specialist in African power and brass band music, recognition in sub-Saharan African music arts, world percussion, and an advocate for international, interdisciplinary, and multicultural music, Young has presented and performed on several festival concerts and conferences internationally in over 45 states, publishing to the US, Canada, and 29 countries before coming to Ohio University. Ladies and gentlemen, our keynote from the one and only Professor Paschal Young.
That was too much. Audio. Sawale Brena over Balafima Magayo. Sawale Brena. Sawale Brena over Balafima Magayo. Sawale Brena. Balafima Bowe. Balafima Bowe. Balafima Magayo. Sawale Brena. Thank you all. Good afternoon and greetings from Ohio University. Where to start? Seeing all my old friends, students from 30, 40 years ago, colleagues, professors, I'm humbled. It's going to be very short. When I conceived this idea of a concert a year ago, I didn't think twice or look far to find a really host and venue. I immediately contacted my old friend and colleague, ACP Dr. Frank Hukporti. As he said, he embraced the concert, so here we are today. Doc, thank you. Organizing this event would have been difficult if you had declined my proposal. Thank you for asking me 4 days ago to be the keynote speaker. You know, always ready. I also like to express my sincere gratitude to the police band, the police academy, the police national training school, and other service band. I know December is very busy. Christmas time, but we made it here. Thank you very much. Also, I like to acknowledge Ohio University for agreeing to pay our flight to come here. But I thank them. They support us in all our activities, our university. Our students are still in school. This exam week, but we are here. Also like to thank Professor Zelma Badu-Younge, Mrs. because I'm here. She's always there when I dream about something and I inform her, go for it. And when I try to slow down or forget, he said, don't forget what you told me yesterday. Go for it. We are here because of her wanting me to do this brass band thing I've been talking about for years. And especially our little ones from the village. The youngs, that was a youth band, aged 7 to 11. We are here because of them in the first place. 2 years ago, I was interviewing them what they wanted to be when they grow up. And almost all of them, I want to be a soldier man. I want to be a policeman. I want to be this. I want to be a doctor. None of them mentioned I want to be a musician. I was so curious at that age. Didn't know that music is not just going to produce musicians. Learning music will produce doctors, medical doctors, lawyers, and the rest. And also want to thank ADO1 Titus Ofori, Arko, for driving hard hours, going to Dzodze to teach them. Where is Titus? Thank you so much for all you do for the little children. He's been our liaison for this concept. Always in touch with Doug to make this happen. So what are we here? We are here to celebrate our culture. That's our Ghanaian culture. We are here because we want to acknowledge and emphasize the importance of the arts in the total education of our leaders of tomorrow. One may ask, why are the arts so important? Well, I've heard a lot about what's happening in our schools. Most of the schools, elementary, they're not paying attention to arts, music, dance. And it pains me, When we were growing up, we had everything. Music competition, singing competition, culture. But today, the emphasis is being placed on STEM, which is now STEAM. In the US, they have added the arts. But in Ghana, all the things I've heard so far is still STEM. They have to quickly change that and add the A, the arts. It's going to be part of what we do to actually prepare our children for tomorrow. Because we are here for music, the question is, when children are involved in music or the arts, are they going to be grown? Are they going to grow to become musicians, artists, or no? Why? Because music, for example, is math. Music is physical education. Music is language. Music is history. Music is life. Music is science. Music is reading. Music is geography. So when children are involved in music, they are actually learning all the subjects. We are preparing them to be critical thinkers. Their motor skills are enhanced. And now because this brass band, I want to focus a bit on brass band. Brass band traditions have been part of us since colonial times. Since the 19th century, brass bands were recorded in African countries, mostly associated with ruling authorities, military bands, police bands, community group churches. In Ghana, we find brass bands almost everywhere. School settings, community settings, churches, security, and the rest. And as a colonial legacy, by all means, the repertoire they left mostly going to be European music most of the time. Until the late 1970s and 80s, the focus was mainly on playing Western After a few attempts by brass bands led by our amateurs, there are not people who went to music schools and learned how to compose. I did my part in the 80s. Some of my students here, bandsmen here, were acknowledged. I tried my little best to incorporate. But I learned from my father, who was the first to Africanize the Catholic Church. So growing up, I had all these instruments, and my father engaging traditional music in the Catholic Church. So I was encouraged to also start doing something. Now, luckily I heard Doc SCP making the effort to make sure the marches that they play, and all the service bands, the GRA band also played, and the service also has some tradition. We are all making the effort. So this is just going to be the beginning to emphasize and to encourage the composition and performance of brass band music inspired and influenced by traditional culture, folk tunes, and the rest. Choral music is ahead. Professor Doy is here, Anan is gone, Nkatia, Enzim Nayo, Ken Kafi. They make sure when you go to church, you are going to hear African choral music, Ghanaian choral music. But brass band, we are a bit behind. And I hope this concert will just be the first, the beginning, where we can have compositions arranged and packaged and sent to most of these bands. 2018, I went to Professor Younge's town. Professor Younge is my in-law, if you don't know. His wife, sitting there, beautiful voice, is my cousin. When they took me to their brass band, I was blown away. They were also reading music like these little ones. And I think I mentioned to him, I'm going to do something like that in Tuesday. So with that conversation, now you see the youngs. Thank you. Now to end, tell something about these little ones that was a youth band. When my dad passed away a couple of years ago, I asked everybody to leave the room, so I was sitting with the body, I was looking at his face. I thought he was smiling, and I made a promise that his legacy will never be forgotten. We started with festivals, but I realized that I had the opportunity to learn all these instruments. I just found the violin I played at the age of 8, and the clarinet when I went through his stuff this past weekend. If you go to my Facebook page, you see those instruments. Some of the cousins were going to throw these things. They thought they were just but I said, hey, don't touch that. They're going to preserve that. So the same education my father gave me from that young age, we are trying to give to these little ones in the village. You just have to be between 7 and 11. Whether poor or rich parents, no. It's a free type of concept. You don't pay anything. And when they tap the instrument, they have 10 months of music theory. So now anything you put before them, those kids will play. traffic. I didn't want them to start around 4 and then to be caught up in Dowuona and those places. So I know you are asleep, but the floor will be open again for you to play. Thank you all for coming, and let's support the young ones. Let's prepare them for tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's support and prepare them for tomorrow. Professor Paschal, he said something that really touched me. He said, when you are a musician, you can be anything else. You can be a doctor, you can be a politician, you can be whatever, but because you're a musician, you should be able to do everything else. Because the discipline, you have to wake up early, leave, drive a long distance, come, stay away, rehearse, go through your pieces, perform, keep that energy up. It takes discipline. Thank you very much, Professor Paschal, for doing this wonderful thing in Dzodze. We move on to part 4 of our program. And if you notice the kind of pieces that we play, they were arranged by one and many of our greats here, from from ACP Dr. Hukporti to D01, Mr. Kpodo, Mr. New Love. They are showing us that they can play music that has been composed for a very high level of musicianship. So for the next session, being conducted by AD01 Titus, Ofori, Arko, ladies and gentlemen, the stars of today, the Youngs, all the way from Dzodze. The floor is yours. Let's give a round of applause for them. gonna set this place on fire. Can I have a round of applause for them again? And I'm sure as our senior musicians and senior bandsmen are sitting and watching these young performers, we are filled with the hope that the future for the performance of music is secure. Meaning the hard work you're doing now, there are young ones being trained that would ably step in those shoes. So thank you also for the sacrifices you've made to blaze the trail and to also assure you that these young ones are learning from you and are going to take on that mantle and lead us into the future when it comes to music, performance, and wonderful Ghanaian creativity, as you have seen. Now we move on to the fifth part that I'm very excited about, because the compositions and arrangements have been done by the one and only Professor Paschal Badu-Younge. This is the new traditional compositions that we're going to experience. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think the first one is still being performed by the Youngs, and that is Gahun. And then, of course, the Police Central Band are going to perform two other pieces. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I hand over to the Youngs, and then, of course, the Police Band shall take over. A round of applause for these young ones, please. Thank you very much. Word of support, but also encouragement to these young ones and all of us here. Honorable Mama Abla Gumasi, MP for Titus South. And you must know she has a strong artistic background. And like we mentioned earlier, once you're an artist, you can be anything.
Thank you very much. I feel like a proud mother listening to you this afternoon. Distinguished personalities here, I'd like to ask your permission to walk on the existing protocols, considering that I wasn't here when you did the introductions. So if there's a chairperson, please permit me. Only yesterday, I had the privilege, greetings to all of you. So only yesterday, I had the pleasure to be a part of the launch of an implementation plan for Ghana's multi-stakeholder heritage strategic framework. It's quite a mouthful. And the theme was positioning Ghana's heritage resources for sustainable development. I agreed to go because I'm a product of our heritage. This is where I found my daily bread for many, many years. I also accepted this afternoon to be here because of Professor Young, who I met not physically, even though I saw him, he didn't know that I even existed. I was at the School of Performing Arts because I love to dance, and I heard this gentleman teach his students about music, and in explaining a rhythm, he made reference to the Azagumo. And as soon as I heard him speak about, I told myself I have to be in this school. So Professor Young, thank you very much. You are part of my story. And here also is a professor who I used to read about, and whose works I used to read. Professor Yanka. When people say that I speak well, I read well. You can only know what you have seen or tasted. Thank you, Prof, for writing. You improved my English language. And so for these children who are here today, I am so confident that amongst you is probably the next president in your generation. In my formative years, I went to St. Louis Secondary School in Kumasi. And there, I played a lot and danced a lot. I ended up failing my first O-level, but I rewrote it again so I could go to the university. But through dancing, through acting, through writing, through reading, through performing, and through producing by the fireside, I discovered who I am and took pride in my heritage. I am not ashamed to speak my language. I'm not ashamed to do my dance. Neither am I ashamed to celebrate this heritage that Ghana gives me. It is my pleasure to be a part of this process that is going to nurture these black children of ours to take over from us one day when we bow out. And so for all of you who are here, thank you for being a part of the process and the opportunity to meet you. I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. All of us remember our dear country, the red, gold, and green with a black star. I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next piece you're going to experience is called Aklala. And then we at the National Theatre of Ghana, we have a very strong emotional connection to this piece. Because for a couple of years, we were preparing to do one of our biggest theater productions that had danced, the Symphony Orchestra, the National Drama Company, the Ghana Dance Ensemble. We had the band also with us. And this was one of their highlight and signature pieces. So as you experience it in musical terms, we are experiencing it through our bodies, because at one point in time, we danced Aklala. Ladies and gentlemen, Aklala for you. Many whom you have touched want to say thank you, Professor Paschal.
Professor of World Music, Ohio University, author, multicultural music educator, multi-talented musician, African musical arts specialist, Ghanaian traditional music and dance historian, and executive director and director of music, Azaguno Incorporated. Professor Paschal Badu-Younge, you are a versatile musician, scholar, a professor of world music at Ohio University. You are recognized for your extensive contributions to African diaspora music and cultures. You are the recipient of the Ohio Arts Council 2020 Ohio Heritage Fellowship and was named Carnegie African Diaspora Fellowship in 2019. As the executive and music director of Azaguno, an ensemble dedicated to researching, preserving, and performing various global music and dance forms. Your proficiency spans across traditional Ghanaian instruments, Western musical instruments, African choral and brass band music, world percussion, and intercultural music advocacy. You ignited a love and passion for brass band music, especially by introducing traditional elements and instruments. These practices undoubtedly narrow the gap between Western and African traditional music. Among the many people you taught are bandsmen and directors of music in all the security service bands. In recognition of your invaluable contribution to the music fraternity in the security service bands in Ghana, we, on this day, 14th day of December 2023, honor you with this citation.
Professor Paschal, just a little way of saying thank you for your contribution to our lives. Thank you, Professor Paschal. Thank you so much for your contribution, for your dedication, for your nurturing spirit. And for always demanding the best of us. Thank you so much, Professor Paschal. With our voices, with our instruments, we say thank you. That is what today has been about. gentlemen, this has been quite an experience. And you know the music is good if royalty nods the head in appreciation. Because I saw Nana smiling and nodding. So give yourself a round of applause for that. It's been an amazing program. Nana has been sharing. At this point, Nana, we want to know your remarks.
This is going to be very brief. And as I always say, Ebenezer, this is how far God has brought us. ACP Dr. Frank Hukporti, Professor Paschal Young, Professor Mrs. Young, all professors present, my Honorable Minister, the various security service bands, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, I am overwhelmed with what I've seen today. It has been a privilege for me to be here. And in a nutshell, I say the program has been successful with the help of the organizers, the sponsors, the funders, and everyone. So in short, I say Ayiko to everybody, and thank you for coming. Thank you.
Ayiko to everybody who's been part of this wonderful event. Before we have the closing, before I have the closing prayer, I think I just quickly run through some acknowledgements. And then, of course, if we've forgotten you, it's not because we don't want to acknowledge you. That's because we just probably skipped over you, all right? So from the performing, the bands, we have the Youngs from Dzodze. If you give a round of applause for them also, led by Professor Paschal Young, Executive Director, Professor Zelma, Badu-Younge, Artistic Director, and ODO1 Titus, Ofori, Arko, the Music Director. Of course, give a round of applause for them. Also, the Police Central Band, led by ACP Dr. Frank Hukporti. They have been our host. They have been the ones that gave us water when we got here. Please give them a round of applause. Of course, the Fire Service Band, led by DO1, Mr. Isaac Kpodo. Give a round of applause for them also for representing. We have the custom band is here, or they couldn't make it? Custom band here? Yes, custom band in blue. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the custom band, of course, led by PRO, Mr. John Doe Afomorpe. Did I get the name right? Yes, got it right. And of course, the Prisons Band, all the way there. Prisons Band, give us a wave, give us a wave, give us a wave. The Prison Band have been present, also led by ACP, Mr. Edgar, Dowuona, ASP. Today they have done a lot of abbreviations, Papa. ASP, Dr. Edgar, Dowuona. Thank you very much, Prisons Band. And of course, our able sponsors, Ohio University, Azaguno Incorporated, Professor Paschal Young, Professor Zelma Badu-Younge, the Police Central Band, and of course, the Police Music Academy. Please give a round of applause for them sharing their resources with us. And of course, the Planning Committee, ACP Dr. Frank Hukporti, ADO 1, Titus Ofori, Chief Inspector Ebenezer Mensa, Chief Inspector Eli Klim Ajor, did I get the name right? Ajori? And then Chief Inspector Godson Kuran, Inspector Charles Bequin, Inspector Martin Lajeko, PWZ Cynthia Akapo, and of course Mr. David Abe. Ladies and gentlemen, we acknowledge, we love, we cherish your support, because if not for you and God, we would not be here. So thank you so very much. At this point, I will call Sister Regina Lecha, SMMC, to please come and give us a closing prayer. As she walks up here, there has been a young gentleman sitting on a canopy by the name Father Vicar. He has been a strong pillar in the development, of course, Professor Paschal, all the work that we've done with the youngsters here. Father Vicar, thank you so much. Father Visa, thank you so much for your support, for your advice, and beautiful conversations we always have with you, Father Visa. Thank you very much, sister.